We're live at 5. All right, let's do this.
I don't even know what time of day it is.
It's almost 7.
Holy shit. A lot later than I thought it was.
Yeah. It is. It is almost 7. Take it off, big boy. I'm going to leave this here in case the boss decides to call again. Yeah, hey, you guys need to fucking go, right?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't bring a phone or...
Yeah, your parents are probably trying to reach out to you.
Hopefully nobody's trying to get a hold of me. I told Josh that I was hanging out with you doing a podcast. So
I snap Josh and be like, hey, just tell your parents he's with me.
yeah, if you're trying to get a hold of Jason, his phone's in his car and he's not with his car.
He's not with it. I want to look at that radar thing one more time.
Just double check things. Ooh, that sounds fun.
That's gnarly. We're right on the edge of it right now.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, we're right on the edge, and it's pretty dark red too. Oh, sirens off! Yay, that's good. That is good news.
Or it'll start up just like it did the last time. Like,
Right,
hey,
we'll
quit.
get going. We'll get going. No, I better tell her. I guess she'll talk to Kylie. We're in the same town.
Oh yeah, they're probably
So-
snapping each other back and forth right now.
I'm sure. I'm
so.
sure they're talking. Anyway, hey, it has been since February.
It's there.
Oh,
Started
Jesus
up again.
fucking Christ! Did you have to take a break?
Let things cool down. I wonder if there's like a longevity type of a thing where it shuts off. Maybe
It literally shut off and went right back on. Though.
Mm-hmm. I did that the last time too.
So we're there. We should
I'm
be.
gonna say
In,
it sounds windy as fuck though.
like we should be in the clear where we're at. Why does the radar look pixelated?
We have cows.
That's a cow. That'd be
I gotta let you go, Julie. We got cows.
right. It'd be a total like. What movie is it? Twister. Were they coming out with the new one?
I believe I did hear something
So-
about that. I don't know if it's a remake
Right.
or if it's just like
No, it'll
Twister
be
2.
Twister 2 or something. I mean, Helen Hunt is not exactly spring chicken.
Hopefully it's not like
She was just in a movie I watched. I can't remember what movie that was.
Helen Hunt.
Yeah, because I was like, is that the lady from Twister? But doesn't matter. Anyway, so it has been. We're just gonna deal with. I don't know if you guys can hear the
All the extra
siren,
sounds,
the rain,
rain drips.
So because it is a stormy Saturday.
Yeah, we got tornado warnings
We have
going.
tornado warnings, tornadoes spotted.
We're right on the edge, basically.
We're
of
on the
one,
edge of one
so,
right now. But here we are.
Yeah.
Because
In
this
true
is
Iowa fashion.
right. In
Like,
true
you just
Iowa fashion.
Keep
hey,
going.
hey, there's a tornado. Hey, you want to come over?
Right.
We'll have a tornado party. So
Already broke one car.
yeah.
So
Jason had some mechanical difficulties, and so Tim tromped over and got saturated and
right.
got the car
Ratchet
back.
strap things back
Ratchet strap
together.
that some bitch back
Yeah.
together.
Went through some water that was a lot deeper than it appeared to be, and I guess the road dips down right there.
Right.
But I don't know how much rain we've had in the last.
So
24
Albert
hours, but a
City,
lot.
Albert City, when we left there at like 6:00, had 5.5 inches since last night.
Yeah, we've got more rain in the last 24 to 48 than we have in the last 7-8 months together.
Yeah, it's been like go from a drought to a not drought.
Right, but the problem is it just rushes so fast across the,
Right.
a
Well,
lot of
luckily
the-
it's started. Some of it has started soaking in, and that's why basements are leaking.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in the ground.
Mine hasn't started leaking yet, but we'll see what it's doing.
So
tomorrow.
mine is only leaking because of the window.
right.
So
right.
I have that egress window, which is not properly drained or set to drain, but like that window holds water pretty good. I've seen it where it's 6 or 8 inches inside that window well, but it's probably just that I don't know, that window's well over 20 years old, so it's just it's starting to leak. But so yeah, welcome to May 13th.
Yeah,
It is May 13th, so.
time's been flying by. But,
Yeah, because it has been months since we've sat down to do this. You have been insanely busy. I have done nothing but run around like a chicken with my head cut off. I don't know if I've actually accomplished anything.
I would say I've accomplished a lot,
But
I've got a lot of printing done.
Oh,
so.
yeah, what you've been doing has been pretty amazing. What I've been doing is moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to find a different location for my studio, which I kind of wanted to stay in the Spencer area.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't in the cards, and ended up running across this building that we're in Lorenz. It's about 4,000 square feet.
Mm-hmm. So a lot bigger
a
space.
lot of space. I mean, the podcast was in my basement. My studio in Spencer was 600 plus,
Mm-hmm.
and this is roughly 4,000. And now it needs work. I haven't officially bought it yet. Right now we're just leasing, and need some roof work, need some sheetrock work, need some. I mean, it's a work in progress,
Right,
but it is. I'm trying to make it a little bit future proof for
Mm-hmm.
us. That
It's got plenty of room to grow.
there's room to grow. There's potential. There's opportunity to grow it into something else. And one of the things initially that I talked to you about was, hey, Jason, I need a name. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of went back and forth. And I found one, and I haven't even told you. I just
I was going to
talked
say, you haven't mentioned anything
talked to
about any
Melanie,
names yet,
and I
but-
think right now I'm kind of on, because I don't want so I want the building and the business kind of as two,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Because there's some things we want to do with this, with podcasting and setups and all kinds of different stuff. Because
Mm-hmm.
right now I can do the way I have it. If you count the podcast space that we're in right now, so we have this. I've got the brick stuff over here. I've
Mm-hmm.
got some plain gray, and then I've got another backdrop stand with another big backdrop and some stuff on it, and then I've got the paper rolls. So I have 5 right here without trying.
Mm-hmm.
I can legit set up just a headshot station in that corner. I'm going to put an art wall up, and then behind me, behind this wall is another 2,000 square feet.
Right.
And so there's a lot of things that we want to do with that, but it's a work in progress. It's going to take time. It's going to take money.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of those I have right now.
you essentially you want the building to be its own entity.
Right.
So if somebody says, "Oh, I'm going to TFC Photography,"
Yep.
it's not just TFC Photography. This is just the home of TFC Photography.
So what I've kind of settled on, which I haven't really put it out there, but the first version to start considering is TFC Image Factory. Because I've always wanted like the factory part, but I didn't want, I didn't want warehouse. I didn't want just TFC Photography and Film. Like, I'm either going to do TFC Image Factory, or I'm literally going to be like the Image Factory. Photo and video
or just
space.
cut it down to the factory.
Well, so there's other, and we could do the factory. What's the one in Storm Lake that BVU has? It's the Foundry, which I actually really like that. But then I'm like, well, BVU has it, so
Right. And see, I was just thinking of, I'm a big movie person. That movie about Facebook. And they started talking about names, and the original name for it was The Facebook.
right,
And then they started talking
and
about
just
the
pull out-
marketing
pull
side,
off
and they
the
just said just Facebook.
right,
Simplify, simplify, simplify. And
right. So you could do Image Factory, or just, I don't know. What do you guys think? Put in the comments to let us know. I mean, it's nothing is cut and dried. I'm just spitballing here, and I'm gonna, because I have to start the Google listings on it, and so I'm literally gonna split it from a suite A to suite B. So I have 2, so then I can have it, so I can list both businesses
Okay.
kind of at
Yep.
the same address. So that's the plan with that, and then lots of things to do. I want to build some things, but time and money, like I said, neither of those I have right now. June, I should have a little bit of both, I hope. So we will see what we can do. But anyway, it is May 13th. Welcome to, I almost forget what this thing is called anymore. Exposed. That's right. It's called Exposed, because it has been so freaking long. I have had people that listen to us, and a lot of people, they will turn the video on and just listen.
And just listen to the
because we
audio
haven't
side of
actually
things.
put it anywhere.
Right.
That
Because we
it's
talked
just
about
audio
having like a
only.
podcast, so it's audio. Because I've even had friends ask, where to find it.
Right.
Because they're driving tractor or truck or something, and
Yeah.
and they're wanting to listen to the episodes instead of just just video, because that's
Right.
what I do a lot. If I'm driving truck, I throw on.
Oh yeah, you're
podcasts
you're always doing that. And I guess I'm spoiled because I listen to a lot of my audio stuff on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But, I do YouTube Premium, so I don't have the commercials.
Yep.
And so like that's why like on YouTube, like I can just shut my phone off and just listen.
Right.
Like when I'm walking, I'm running, whatever, or driving or working. It just depends. If I'm working by myself, there's always something going. I was setting cabinets in the kitchen the other day, headphones in, just going to town. And Melanie's like, I tried making noise as she came in. She's like, I was pounding on the door, trying not to surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
And I about jumped out of my skin when I saw her out of the corner of my eye. Because I was by myself. It was like 7:30 at night.
Right.
It was starting to get dark and I didn't have any lights in the house. And so I was just, whoa. She's like, I tried making noise and, pulled my headphones out. And so, but yeah, so I need to pull all the audio and start putting it on. I know there's a way that I can just put everything on.
Mm-hmm.
Upload it to one thing and it should be able to kind of just spider out to everything. But anyway, I know you made a post the other day.
Right. Yep. And was it the prom stuff that I posted? I think it was the prom stuff that I posted.
You'd said here, let's just bring it up because that way we know exactly.
Because then I mentioned about event photography. So I believe that was
event stuff.
Was the prom.
So it was the prom.
Mm-hmm. Because I think, event stuff is one of them deals that no matter what you are as a photographer, be it a professional or an amateur or just even just an enthusiast.
Right.
You're going to see any event, even with a cell phone.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to shoot an event, especially nowadays. When we were growing up, it was usually carried to an event a film camera, and it was one of them disposables.
Yeah.
I always had disposable everywhere I went. That's what I carried in the truck when I was over the road.
Right.
That's what I used, and then I got talked into getting a digital. And that's when I noticed photography changed. For me, when I was over the road, it was just something you did. You took pictures or documented different loads, and it took something away from the day that was, monotonous about driving truck, and it was something else to do, looking out the window.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where my photography always has been. I've always been looking.
Right.
It wasn't until I picked up a camera that it became something else.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of other people are as well. We're documenting things on our normal everyday life. The advent of a cell phone really changed to more there it goes again, to more note taking. If I'm doing a project, I'm taking pictures of it instead of writing notes down.
Right.
But event photography, we're all going to events.
Right.
And I think it's one of them aspects we can all grow as photographers or creatives, or the way that we document our own lives that make things more interesting. Ways to do that.
Well, so like when you're talking about event photography, so like I know the post that you had made was because, I had you guys come with the prom for the Grand March stuff. And then I stayed for the dance stuff to get some things. And, and part of it helped at my daughter's. It was her junior prom.
Yep.
And so like I wanted to be there for the dance stuff. I wanted to do all that.
Because you missed last year, because last year you guys were in
Last
Florida.
year we were in Punta Cana for that wedding. And I gave Addison the choice, and and it, so I told a 16-year-old, hey, you get to decide.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think she would have said stay home.
Yeah, you gotta.
I still felt bad for being gone, but she was like, I've got my junior, senior year. As long as you're there for that, I don't care. But kind of touching on the event photography stuff. So like my big thing lately has been a few track meets.
Mm-hmm.
So because most people when they think of event photography, they think of weddings, shows, different types of events, but they don't think about, school events.
Right.
prom events, sporting events. You know, they just think of those as different, their own genre, but in essence, they are considered, you know, event photography. And so I think it was this week. I did 2 track meets this week because I did district on.
That's right. Yep.
On Thursday, and then on Monday I did the Home Sioux Central meet. And part of that, and it was funny because one of the kids had asked me, they're like, you know, something about making money there, and I said, well, with that stuff, I go because I have a lot of these kids that are already my clients as my seniors, and I kind of want to just help fill it in because basketball and football always take priority over all of the sports. You know, I have some golf kids, some baseball, some softball stuff, but you know, so I try to get to multiple types of events. And then the last district track meet, I actually had a parent reach out and they were like, hey, can you get these? And they also wanted me to go to state next week for 3 days.
That's right.
And it wasn't necessary. We weren't actually talking money. We were kind of talking exchange of some things, like wakeboard surfing. Like Tim was going to learn how to wakeboard surf.
Hopefully it goes better than snowboarding.
Oh, yeah, snowboarding's not good. But, you know, I was like, yeah, sure. You know what? If I've got the time, I can make it work. I said, but, you know, unfortunately.
Cop sirens now.
A wedding. Holy shit. Maybe we better look at our map.
We better take a look at the weather here real quick. Because there's a car racing pretty good right now.
Oh, yeah. So it is Pocahontas area. That's got to be fire.
It's going to be screaming through here right now. Yeah, that's got to be a fire truck.
Oh, that's going the wrong way.
That's going north.
That's going north. Well, but it looks like there's nothing on us. This is really killing the vibe.
Well, unless there's some other wreck or emergency.
Oh, it looks like it's getting ready to pop off at home.
Albert City is. I can't see that far worse.
Oh, so like it's just north of Newell and Varina, and by Varina.
Oh yeah, yep.
Oh
yeah, it's just
this might make an interesting or a very
a wild night,
a very short podcast. One of my wedding clients for next month, she snapped me. She was like, because I had, you know, my fish tank outside my basement window in my office with water in it. And I'd posted that on Snapchat. And I said, yeah, that was at my house. She goes, lovely. We're in Pokey at the bar, hoping the tornado jumps us.
Yeah, like I said, I had a good spot picked out all day in my basement of my house, and then the sirens start going off, and then I go out and venture around. I was just hanging out in the dark room.
It's a typical Iowa thing.
Oh yeah,
but back to event, and we'll just kind of bounce around. I imagine the way everything's going, we probably shouldn't be here too long.
Right.
You know, we should go out and drive around in this shit and see if we can get anything. But you know, the event photography, there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of stuff that gets captured. And, you know, I had another one of my clients a couple years ago, and she's like, just connect with the right parents to go. Cause there is parents that want to go and just cheer and be there and not worry about cameras.
And,
they want to be present.
They want to make sure things are documented, but they want to be present at it.
And I get it. I do that. Cause there's a lot of things where I'll go with, and like we go to, you know, like the school concerts, and Addison's playing her flute and stuff.
Right.
People are like, you don't have a camera? And I'm like, no, I'm here to watch my kid. Because watching through a viewfinder or a screen is not the same.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't mind it when I'm working. But like sometimes I just
a
want
lot of times too,
there.
The stuff we document on a normal basis, say like a wedding, we don't have normally a super deep connection with a client.
Right.
You know, there might be some people, you know, they're friends or maybe family of some sort, but it's different when it's your kid or your parent or, you know, immediate family. You know, a lot of times you're treated when you're at some of these weddings, say per se, like you are family. Right. But I think, when we're looking through the viewfinder, it's also if that was my mom or my dad or my grandparent or my daughter or something
what
like
are
that.
the moments
How
that
are we connecting?
Well, I think of that kind of as if I was the groom, or if I was the dad of the bride or groom, or the bridal party, whatever. What do I want captured?
Right.
What do I want to see? Whether it's video or photo, what part of that do I want captured? So that's kind of how we approach things. Is that we want a lot of the fun,
right? Yep.
but we also want the emotions and stuff like that. And it's kind of funny talking about that. It was Melanie she sent me a TikTok of a gal who'd hired a photographer. It was very disappointed with a lot of the photos. Now I looked at them and I said, I felt that she was being a little harsh, but she was a photographer. I did a lot of air quotes because she's like, well, I second shot a lot. I've done a couple weddings and so I think she was being a little overly critical. So, well, I paid $3,000 in this and this and this. And the photographer was photoshopping and doing all kinds of stuff. And I was like, well, for my packages, I don't include Photoshop. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, we missed this and we missed this and we missed this. And it's like, okay, well, did she have a list? Did she have a detail? Had you had that conversation?
Right.
Did you, okay. Cause I ask everybody, is there any particular people that are a must have?
Right.
And I also say, I'm like, you are allowed to give me a list of shots that you want. I will do everything I can to get that. I do not guarantee it.
Right.
But, and some of those are like, well, your second great uncle Gerald and, his wife, like that's the bottom of the list sometimes. I'm like, most important first, because there's a limited amount of time.
Correct.
During the day. So yes, mom, dad, very close relatives, brothers, sisters, cousins, stepdads, anything like that. Like I want, mother-in-law, father-in-law, that type of stuff, everybody with.
Right.
And like, we will ask that before we do. Okay. Is there any other groupings? Is there anybody that wants to get in here? Because like, it's okay. Like speak up, please.
Yep.
Cause I'm here to serve you and give you what you need. Because once that day has passed, I don't want it to come back on me to be like, well,
hopefully that siren's
you didn't
done
get
now.
This. I know it'd be nice the siren's done. I have no idea what it sounds like in this.
I will find out.
I guess we're going to find out when I edit it.
So hopefully it's not super annoying.
Right. So, because I'll get this edited on Sunday. But
one thing I do too, I've had this with Brady with concert stuff. I will ask him, is there a grand finale or is there a part of the show that goes above and beyond? Like we had the 4th of July show. So I get kind of a set list. So I kind of know how many songs. So I will pull that out. And usually it'll say, this singer's out there, that singer's out there. Sometimes I make some notes too. And if there's some singer that usually don't sing with the band quite so much, I try to make sure maybe I grab some more photos of that person. But a lot of it is finding, kind of like at a wedding, the first kiss and different stuff like that, concerts that same way, or say you're at a rodeo, the second go around, the people that made, they made full rides, they were the best of the best on the night. So maybe try to get that many more images of them.
Right.
Cause you have a good ride or you have a good night or, you
want to remember
you're the champion team. They're the ones that want the image, they don't, the people on the losing team, it sucks to lose. We've all been in that position
second place
before.
sucks. Second place, if you're that close to first and I get, so I was at the track meet in Sheldon, right? And so Okoboji won the boys.
Yep.
We got, Sioux Central got third. And Sioux Central girls won first. So I'd gotten our girls, but the whole Okoboji group was all getting together. And, so I ran over there and I said, just like, let me shoot this. Cause everybody's got their cell phones, which are great. Like I am not a cell phone hater because use what you have.
Right. Yeah.
And like, I like it when people send me pictures of, it taken with the cell phone. I don't care because people are like, I know mine's not as good as yours. And I'm like, no, it's not okay. It's okay. It's not necessarily the best quality. It's the subject matter to me. And so I ran over and I got the team. I handed somebody a card. I said, give this to whoever needs to, have them reach out, and I will send you guys that file.
Yep.
And just because, like, if it was us, I would want somebody to do it too. It took me no time. I was already there, and so it was just the thing. So the athletic director called me, and I said, all right, here it is. I sent it right to his email. I go, I'd love for you to let everybody know who took it. Here's my phone number, my website, my name. I go, I'm not requiring that. And so some of that's copyright stuff, and we can get into a whole fucking mess of copyright stuff.
That's
because it's been an interesting year.
We've both had a lot of headaches with that.
It's been an interesting year with copyright.
And like I've talked to you about it. That's probably my number one thing of why I don't want to pursue the commercial side of things.
Right.
Like it's like I told you one night, I'm like, if it's going to rob me of the joy of photography, I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
I do not want somebody to ruin something that means the absolute world to me. It's not that important. I was even watching kind of an, you're more in the commercial aspect of things and I'm more in the art market side of things. Right. So we're both looking at our futures in a whole different light. So this morning, the thing I was listening to that they were talking about was not to over commercialize yourself as an artist because it starts detracting away from your art.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you have so much else out there. You can still put yourself out there as an artist, and do commission work, but make sure that commission work is as an artist.
Right.
And we've even talked about that on, film portraits and that kind of thing, more of a niche market than anything else.
Yeah. So, and that kind of goes along with one of the channels that I've been learning from. And, he is a very niche the fuck down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not quite there because of the market that we're in.
Right.
Right. So
we're in a difficult area for any creative.
I'm still a jack of all trades,
it's a tough area.
But on the other hand, like, I'm somewhat of a niche.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning the legit full commercial side of things. But, if somebody asks me, I am a senior and wedding photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, senior wedding headshot photographer. That I also do videos.
Yep.
Which, is just, I enjoy them.
Mm-hmm. I'm
just not known for them.
Right.
But so like, I'm a senior wedding and headshot photographer. That's my niche.
Mm-hmm.
Like these portraits. Now the weddings, I really enjoy the weddings. I really enjoy the seniors, and I really enjoy the headshots. Those are the three things. Now, I still do family portraits, groupings, all that other stuff. It's not that it's not on the top of my list to shoot. So when people ask me, I will, but I don't pursue that.
Right.
Somebody that we're looking for a family photographer, I get mentioned, but it's not like one of those things where I go after and be like, hey, pick me, because there are people that do it that, first of all, I think are better. And second off, they like to do that.
They enjoy it.
So there's something about actually enjoying that. And so like, when he's talking about like niche down, and that's kind of like what you've done, okay, this is what I'm going to focus my time and effort on. It is the film side of creating art that I print that will be for sale. Limited amounts. Right. Like once I finish this run, that's it. It's not going back through. And what people don't understand is that because everybody's used to the online digital world now, click print, go pick it up, it gets shipped to your door or whatever. Right. Yours is a little bit different. It is all analog. So
it's handmade. And that's what we were talking about earlier too. The prints that I was working on today, I spent 5 hours making 4 prints and none of them turned out. And, that some people, well, that was a waste of time. No, I learned a lot from them 5 prints. The amount of stuff I'm learning on a daily basis. And it's not that I'm spending my entire day in a dark room. There's days where I'm out doing, work outside the house, driving truck, doing various part-time jobs or whatever. And then I go home and spend 5 hours in the dark room. The dark room isn't something where you go spend 15 minutes in. So a lot of times that's where I spend a lot of my nights.
I know. I tried calling and you don't answer.
And then there's a Snapchat, you in the dark room or something like that.
Yep.
And
then you still don't look at it.
But that's just that's my spot. The amount of stuff that I'm learning is paying dividends. I learned that stuff extremely fast. Why that is, I have no idea. That's just knowledge I retain really well. Stuff on the computer, I'm terrible at. So why not, I think if we look at me and you comparison, you're a photographer, you're a documentary and creative, and I'm more of an artisan.
Right.
And that's where, we blend really well together because you see things in a certain way. I see things in a certain way. And where we cross, we mesh extremely well. And so I think wedding clients have seen that when we work together.
Yep.
Even different event stuff. We've done stuff with the school. We were even talking about that earlier. Presenting information to kids, whether or not, we pursue an educational thing in the future. We've bounced around ideas about that.
We've both talked about
We'll
that.
see what happens there in the future. I won't say yes or no,
So on that note, with the education side of things, because we have, I have, when the school had reached out about their May term, I said, well, I don't think I'm going to be in Spencer. Now, I still have my studio up there. I have it till the end of the month. I don't have any more shoots lined up in there. All my stuff is either in here or it's on location.
Right.
And so I had told her, because she's going to Chris's that morning with the kids. And then I said, well, if you want to come to Lorenz, I have a lot more room. And then what my thought was just trying to, either kind of teach them a little bit with video lighting or, using video lighting instead of strobe or doing some different stuff. But that way they can see a film set, they can see a photo set, and how each one kind of differs a little bit. And
because the lighting mentality, is a lot the same, depending on, if you're using strobes or using constants. You use a lot of constants. I'm wanting to pursue some strobe stuff more on the portrait side, but we'll see if that goes or not. I got to try out some things, and it might be some more artistic print kind of thing instead of contract out to do families or weddings or something like that. So we'll see what direction that goes in.
Yeah. As far as the lighting things go, I'm doing a course next month. I'm decent. I'm decent at lighting, right? But I'm not there where I wanted to be. And so I had bought some stuff from a guy in Wisconsin, some Fresnel lights and stuff like that. And so I bought them in February. And he was like, it's like $300 or $400 to ship them. And I go, we'll get together at some point.
Right.
And so he's like, hey, I'm going in June to this class in Ames at McClanahan Studio. It's with PPI. You should check it out, or I could just meet you. And so then I looked up the guy, and he's got I can't think off the top of my head, but so he's got a studio in Chicago. He's been teaching lighting for years. And it's a very cinematic.
You told me who it was, and I can't remember.
I've started following him on YouTube and watching a bunch of his stuff, and I'd sent you his promo for his class stuff. And I'm watching it, and I go, I think I can figure out most of what he does from that. But I want to. Well, first of all, I want to go get the lights from Nate, and then second off, I need to go just freshen up.
Yep.
So just freshen up. I was gonna go do a senior. basically a senior lighting course for, high school seniors in Kansas City this last week. I didn't make the deadline in ordering or getting lined up with the class. Plus I didn't have the 3 or 4 days to give to it just because everything that I have on my plate is per usual. And so like this one, I was like, it's a 1 day. It's really hard for me to give up 4 days to go for something.
Right.
And like, I've been talking with another photographer in Des Moines, and she's trying to line up a group of people to do 400 or 500 headshots in a week.
Wow.
But it's all over the state. So I don't know what organization it's for. And I told her, I said, I go, if it's 400, I go, I can do that by myself in a week. Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, it's all over the state. And I was like, I really want to go. If you tell me where they're at, and if it's like at 5 different locations, now if it's at 25 locations, it's not going to happen. Because she's like, I want to break it down into four different photographers, and then everybody goes out and does it. Well, first she wanted me gone for 5 days, and I go, no. Mm-hmm. I go, I don't. In the 2 weeks that she'd mentioned, I go, I don't have 5 days to give during those weeks.
Right.
Like I have stuff. And I said, I'm not going to reschedule it for what this is paying. Mm-hmm. And I talked to Melanie about it, and she goes, we'll see if she'll just do a few days, like 2 or 3 days, and see what she, so, and then it was funny because Melanie had said that, and then she reaches back out to me, and she's like, hey, could you do 2 to 3 days? And I said, yes, but I can do more headshots than you think I can.
Right.
Like I'm very efficient. Like I can bang through 25 people in less than an hour.
Once you get the setup right, it's...
Well, I did district judge, so I had 18 judges. Mm-hmm. So I got into the courtroom, got my lighting set up, photographed 18 judges as a group, and get everybody looking good. And then I did 6 individual headshots after that. So I had to shift, set up the backdrop, set up the lighting, run through 6 different people, get their headshots done, and tore down in 45 minutes.
You just do like a pop-up backdrop?
So I have my little pop-up one.
Same thing like mine, black on one side, white on the other.
So mine is a frame that stretches. So it's got.
Oh, okay, yep.
I don't even remember what it's called. It's up.
I think
it
was
there
the
somewhere.
one that was set up for prom last year in your studio, I believe. Has like the X system. on it.
Yeah. So I have white, black, and gray on that, and so I usually so for the judges, it's usually a gray. Because there's some stuff they have to submit that needs dark backgrounds, and so it's easier for me to darken or lighten or whatever.
Yep.
And so I did all that set up, shot the group, shot the headshots, had changed lighting, set up backdrop, tore everything down, was packed up and gone in 45 minutes. Now, I could not have done that 3-4 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like it is just, elevate, learn, figure it out.
But it's also the simplifying thing. I met with Chris and Derek earlier this week. I think that was, what day is it today?
That was
Wednesday. And like I talk with them all the time, and even me and Chris were talking cameras and simplifying his kit. Mm-hmm. He got rid of the M3, and then he was talking about maybe getting an M3 and getting rid of the M2, and he's got some other amazing cameras, and it's that simplification of gear getting down to only a couple focal lengths.
Right.
And it's different if you're somebody who's shooting products, then shooting portraits, and then shooting landscapes or something like that. But if you get things down to like a shooter like me, and I guess even a wedding photographer could be the same thing. I run around a wedding typically with 2 lenses.
You can shoot a whole wedding with 2 lenses.
And that's pretty much what
it's easy.
I do. I take 3 lenses with me, and pretty typically I've got 2 on. I've got the 110 and the 45, which is 85 and 35.
Which is exactly what I've been carrying. Mm-hmm. And then for reception time, I will throw on like a 16 to 35 or something. Get a wide angle, just for more fun stuff. Or we even use GoPros. Yep. But yeah, and like I said that at my house, I'm like, I'm a 70 to 200 guy. Mm-hmm. I've hardly used that lens.
Yep.
I've been shooting almost all my portraits on a 35 or an 85. And I remember, so this is my second 85. I bought one. I tried to make myself use it, and I sold it because I was like, this lens is.
Was that the one like a 1.8, 1.4?
It was a 1.8. So it's just it was a cheap, like
it's not super high end glass, but it was
good enough. But
quality.
it's the exact same one that I have now. And so like I bought it, I tried to shoot with it, and I just couldn't shoot with it. So I sold it. And so this year, well, basically this spring, I've literally been bringing a 35 and an 85 with me. Pretty much doing almost everything with that, unless it's sports related. So there, like, I've got my teleconverter for my 7200, so I can punch out to 400. I lose a little bit of quality with the teleconverter.
Yep.
That was one of those more of an experiment.
Because you're losing stop light.
I'm losing two stops.
Oh, it's 2 stops. Okay.
So my 2.8 is a 5.6.
Okay.
Punch out a 400. Now,
today's ISOs and stuff.
Well, it's
like
not
that,
even
it's not
ISO. Like you lose quality of the image,
sharpness.
the sharpness, and it's funny because we go round and round and round and talk about sharpness and all that stuff.
If you look at my stuff recently, like especially like how I like to shoot, and like I tell everybody, I'm like I simplify down to shutter speeds. I use typically 2 shutter speeds, and I'm a stickler with that. And like I explained, earlier I'd said, hanging out with Derek and Chris, and like I explained to them, I'm like, the more I can simplify that, the more I see things quickly and I can operate quickly. I know what I can do with them shutter speeds. I don't even look at a light meter anymore. I don't meter anything. Like I walk outside and I know instantly what ISO I am. Well, typically I'm on film anyway.
Right.
But I know what I'm shooting at for a shutter speed. I know what I can get by with, and I know at what point I have to change it. So yeah, I'm walking around unmetered at all. Like there's no auto. Oh, I know.
Anything, I know. Most
no
of your film stuff, and I was talking with. Well, so I borrowed Diane's 600 f4 for the track meet.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I was talking with them last night, and it was really funny because her and her husband Larry are great wildlife photographers. And so I was talking about, shutter speeds and different things. And then so they started asking me, what shutter speed do you use for this? Because I was like, at the end of the night, I was at 16,000 ISO with 1/320th shutter just to get it just good enough.
Right. And you're probably on gimbal at that point,
and the light
too?
was, I was on a gimbal. And the light was just absolutely horrendous or non-existent.
Yeah, if you were handheld, you probably wouldn't get by that low.
I can handhold. So the Z9 and the Z6
I guess they're all image stabilized, and they're probably at least 5-axis. Probably,
so the Z9 is 5-axis. I'm assuming the 6 is. I don't know. I know some of the technical specifications, but I don't care.
Yeah, and that's the reason why you can go below 600. I mean,
right. Well, I can. So I actually shot because I played with that 600. So I actually shot it handheld with that at 1/60th of a second. Now I was on a non-moving subject, but like it's doable. It's doable. Now I have to know that I'm going to do that, and then it's the whole hold it, slow exhale type of like. And for somebody that that is typically shook, actually.
You're doing pretty good.
So
is it the diet thing?
It's
maybe?
gotta be. So
I was going to say, normally you hold your hand out. I still have caffeine. Are shaky as can be.
I still drink coffee every morning. No sugar, just honey. So, I've lost 15, 16 pounds, something like that. And I'm energized. Took the dogs out for a walk in the rain.
Yep.
Threw my weight vest on, 40 pounds. Because I can't run yet. My Achilles is still a little sore. Next week, I'll be able to start running.
Or if there's a tornado, you're held down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that might have. I had not checked my steadiness.
Yeah. Normally, you hold your hand out and you are just shaky as can be.
I'm like this. That might be. It could be the sugar. Because I had tried no caffeine, like 0 caffeine for 8 weeks before.
Right.
And I had different things. I'd never just thought of
It
just
could
diet.
be. It could be the exercise too.
Well, it could
on
be
stress.
Well, because I'm less stressed, less anxiety, and I'm busier. I'm really busy right now with both businesses, and so now I still wake up some days with a little anxiety, but it's way better than it used to be. But I'm only drinking a cup of coffee in the morning, or my espresso in the morning.
Your cup of coffee is like my pot of coffee.
Right.
Like
So,
everybody
but-
always teases me how light my coffee is.
Yeah, but if
and
it's
I'm like,
you know,
I drink it and I don't get jittery. I mean, by the time I drink the pot, I'm maybe a little strung out.
It was
but-
really funny, talking about that, because like I had gone a couple weeks because, like I said, I missed the 2 teaspoons of sugar in my
That's right.
latte.
Yeah, you did say that.
And so like I tried is stevia?
Terrible.
Oh my God. That was like, I was like, Melanie goes, "You're going to hate it." And I'm like, "I got to try it." And then I'm like, fuck, I have
Tim's
honey.
going Valley Girl. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Like, so I had honey. I had honey. So tablespoon of honey, not quite. It's perfect.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of people say that, like they
is.
prefer the honey and like
And
the coffee.
now I don't miss it. So, but it was funny when I had drank, it might've been the stevia one, because I hadn't had any coffee. And then, so it'd been like 2 weeks. And then I made my double shot espresso with latte. And I had not eaten anything, and I was fucking vibrating. I was like, it was one of those, I can see the colors,
Right.
Or I can smell the colors,
Smell
or
the colors.
however that goes, right? And so now I just get up every morning, I have my coffee, get my workout. So I'm assuming there is, there's workout included, and then the no sugar. So I'm not doing basically any added sugar. So like if there's some, like I still eat fruit. Tomatoes, fruits, vegetables. Like I'm more whole foods. I eat like 12 grain whole wheat bread.
Yep.
I very seldom is it more than one slice per day average, because I'm trying to watch some of the carbs, but I'm kind of doing a balance of carbohydrates, fat, and proteins.
Well, you got to think too, even about the shaking thing. You're getting everything more back to neutral.
Right.
Your diet was out of whack. You're stressed because you're just going nonstop. So everything's running. Like a top fuel dragster, and then you go and then you kind of burn out, and then you go and then you kind of burn out. Now you're back to more of a steady pace and just keep moving.
So I'm
forward.
assuming that so where we were going with that is that I assume that has something to do with being able to handhold some of the stuff. But
I forgot we were talking about that.
Right. I was trying to figure out how did we get down this path? But it was fun explaining. Can you see the road and cars from the nest? Melanie so our security camera. Okay. I don't know what's going on.
It's all going bonkers.
Well, so like I have the other security camera that faces the street, so it gets my front step. If a car drove by, I'm not even logged into it. I haven't been logged into that. Like the rings, I'm all logged into.
But you were talking about the smell or the sight or whatever that saying was. But the one thing I've noticed,
smell the colors.
Spending a lot of time in the dark room, under red light, is the more heightened senses. Your daughter probably notices that too, because her sight suffers, but touch or anything else like that, them senses get heightened. I've noticed that working even in the dark room.
Yeah.
And, just memorizing, muscle memory where things are. And that's one thing I like about how I've got the dark room set up now is everything flows better. Even when I was in the bathroom, it was nothing really flowed. Everything was just kind of in the way. And just
you
back and
hadn't
forth.
set it up
Right. Yep.
to how you wanted it to work. So now, and it's like that with all of our processes. So, cause I tried explaining that to people, and cause my Snapchat yesterday morning was I had 10,400 photos to go through.
Right. Yep.
And people are like, "Oh my God." And I go, "I was through them in less than an hour." And I go, "But I have the process." So I they're already in and loaded. Then it goes into photo mechanic, which I know what I'm looking for.
Right.
So I can get through that. Now, a wedding takes way longer than
Right.
that because I'm being very particular. But this,
It's different when you've got a client that has already paid you to do that work.
right.
Or like,
Well,
maybe
but a
I'll-
wedding event and calling on a wedding, because there is shots that I need, and a sporting event is shots that I got.
Right.
Right. And so like I was through that in 45 minutes. And then so everything goes into an edit folder, goes into Lightroom, and that was all shot in JPEG. I mean, I shoot my sporting events in JPEG. It just makes it easier because most of the time I have everything almost perfect in camera that I want it. It goes in. I literally throw it in. I do a select all grade on it and then spit it back out with a watermark, and then I upload the other files. The files that are available for purchase get uploaded without a watermark. The ones that go on social media get it. And so like I've created this whole process. So I did. So I backed up, culled. I had to do quite a bit of white balance work on those photos because the lighting was just all over the place.
So I was going to ask you too, if you're setting like a constant Kelvin temp and then readjusting.
So I had set it to auto white balance, which I have a tendency to do depending on where I'm at, as I knew the lighting was going to change because we went from bright sunlight to shadow to stadium lights, and then there was other clouds and not clouds, and so like it was a different color temperature every 10 minutes.
Yep.
So sometimes instead of me having to worry about constantly adjusting it, and I had actually switched to aperture priority on stuff because they were going from bright to dark to bright because the stadium was on the west side. And so the kids would run in front of it. So it'd be full sun, full shade, full sun.
Right.
So I would check my shutter speed
in the exposure.
In the shadows. I would check my shutter speed with the shadow picture to make sure it was up enough that when they went from full sun to full shadow, that there wasn't a bunch of motion blur. Yep. Which I'm fine with. And I was explaining that to Diane and Larry last night because like Larry, because he's talking about his wildlife stuff, he wants everything perfectly crisp. And so I was like, sometimes like a little motion blur is okay. And he's like, no. And I said, that's fine. That's a preference. That is a preference. And there's, so like, I really like for sports 1/500th. Because I'm okay with a hand being a little blurry. Yep. Now, if I'm shooting for like somebody, they want everything perfect. Yes, I'm going to crank it up 1,000th, 1,500th, whatever it takes, depending on the light. Sometimes it's faster because that stupid Z9 will go to like 132,000th of a second, right? But, and so Diane's making notes, and I said, if you wanted this, and I had explained to him, I go, Jason shoots at 1/125th or 1/250th. Yep. I go, those are his shutter speeds. Now, I go, that's what he prefers. Sometimes he has to make an adjustment if we're doing group photos outside. Like, I don't want it at f11 just to make sure that shutter speed, because you did that once. Yeah. Because I was like, what were you thinking? I was like, I can see the lettering on the mailbox a quarter mile away.
And I have the ND, and this year I'll bring the ND along. So if I want to do something in particular, it opens up that creative toolbox. But, me compared to a lot of other people, and this is where, going back to the event type of a thing, is it a shot that you need to have, or is it a shot you would like to have?
Right.
And, I will push that boundary of, and I did that with the rodeo stuff too. I wanted to, I shot majority of it at 1/25th because I wanted to see at the end of the night, I can look in the camera all I want, but until I get it on that big screen, I can't exactly see if this is exactly what I want. Is it working out right? But that's one of them things I like to test digitally too, because I get that instant feedback without any extra money. And then I can go back in and be like, okay, at this arena particularly, I can come in, I can shoot some film, and I know this is my safety zone to get the look that I want to get. And then I had my one buddy up, Matt from Des Moines,
I saw there were
too.
some photos of him.
Yep. And so I grabbed some photos of him, but him and I each got out. I haven't seen any of his photos yet, but at the end of the night, we both got out our Graflex. I have a 4x5 speed graphics, which is a 4x5 inch sheet of film, black and white film, and I pushed that beyond what the charts tell me, and I shot 3 sheets. So if anybody's seen me there, they're probably looking at me trying to figure out what I'm holding on to, because I've got this big box that I'm holding up, and it's hand wind the shutter speed on the side, and it's got a focal plane shutter in it, and so the ASA I was shooting at was 12.8, and then I did a stand developing, so it took me another 2 hours and 20 minutes according to their charts. I threw an extra 30 minutes on top of that, 20 or 30 minutes on top of that. I can't remember without looking at my notes, but I could easily went another hour and pushed it that much more. But it's testing them boundaries.
Right.
So next time I know what I can push this film to, what shutter speeds I can use. And even with that camera, I'm working with technology from the 1950s is what I'm hand holding. And even Matt, he goes, "You're going to hand hold that?" And I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "This way I know."
Yeah.
And, I found out that night, and granted it cost me a little bit of money, in sheets of film and time, but it showed me what I needed to know.
Right.
So next time I know what I can get by with and what I can't get by with. And that'll be the difference of what image I can or cannot make.
Cool.
So,
yeah. So it's, I really like the rodeo ones. I really like Cole getting tossed.
I figured you might enjoy that one.
I laughed. I thought it was hilarious because you'd snapped it to me. Mm-hmm. I was like, the daughter's boyfriend's getting, or baby daddy, getting tossed up. But shit, since I've been here, since we did our last podcast, we have a new grandbaby,
Right, that's right, yeah.
Stetson, so little Stetson John. And
if I say he's a couple weeks old, he's probably, a month old?
So he is, what is today, the 13th? So he is officially, he's 3 weeks yesterday.
Yeah. His time just goes by so quick.
Oh, dude. And I always laughed about it. I love it when a kid says that, like a 20-year-old says that. Man, time just goes fast. I said, you just wait.
Yep.
And I said, then I talk to an older generation.
And they say the same thing.
And they're like, man, the clock, like I'd never seen the hands on the clock move so fast as it does now. But no, this was a good just warm up to get back in. We've had all kinds of storm action and stuff going on. Mel said there's crap going on in Albert City that I need to go check out. But yeah, so this is kind of our new setup.
Space.
It is going to be adjusted. There's more that we're going to do here, and so this is going to be a space. It's going to be available actually in different configurations. If you or your business or some of your friends wants to get together for a podcast, it is something that Jason and I are going to start offering. Basically through the building business here. And so that's going to be a podcast setup, and we can set up various other setups if you want just plain, if you want some different backdrops. I've got brick and grays and different stuff. But so if you and your friends have been always wanting to do a podcast, whether it's video podcast or just audio, it is something that you can actually come in here, pay for us for an hour. We will set you up. We will light you. We will mic you up, and you are ready to go with the option of us editing and uploading, or we send you away with your hard drive.
Because it'd be a turnkey operation, and you're not. Oh, I got to get this camera. Now I need a light. Now I need microphones. Now I need audio.
Yeah,
now I need to learn that.
There's no real investment. So
if this is something you think you want to do, it's the best way to start.
Yeah, if you want to do a podcast, or you want to try it out, and you just come in and you let's say you sign up for 10 episodes. And so it's literally it's not very expensive. It's kind of a service that we want to offer to kind of help pay for some of the repairs in the building, and also to help everybody out. But we're in charge of the cameras, the lighting, and the audio, and all you have to do is show up. So instead of spending a lot of money on all of the equipment and everything to do it with, you just literally invest in us doing the work for you, and you get to reap all the benefits. So if that's something you guys are considering, please let us know, and we can start facilitating that and getting that ready to go. But
like we said too, this is a space to grow.
Yeah.
And what it's going to be, who knows?
Right.
And but it's here, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're going to build it up. So with that said, I would love for you guys to kind of make some comments. Let us know what you want to talk about. If anybody wants to come on, this is now easily set upable for 3 to 4 people because of the space that we have now. The other thing, we are going to, so next episode, we are going to talk a little bit about copyright stuff, just because we've had an interesting first 5 months of this year. I know
people that just don't understand.
They just don't understand it. So I think education is better than how did you want to say that? Better education is better than confrontation, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I had a pretty big one with a wedding that you did with me for me, and I actually had 3 in the same weekend.
Right.
So I had a video. I had another photographer. Business person that had used some of my images for one business, and then they'd used it in their own business promoting what they do, which is a no-no because I'd only given them permission to use it for the one business.
Right.
And then, the video clip. And then of course we had the magazine, where Jason, the images he had shot for me for a wedding this summer, was the front cover. And there was, I think, 13 total images in the magazine, and neither one of us knew about it. So, I got in touch with the company, got it all kind of straightened out, and because I told them, I said, I don't want to litigate this. I don't want to make make enemies.
There's no
I want friends out of this deal. So, so let's help educate.
Mistakes happen.
I think it was.
It's when the mistakes continue to happen. And then there's the excuses, and they continue to happen. That's when it kind of gets to the point where it's beyond frustration.
Well, and it's one of those things that, I was angry, about it. And then I'm like, it was a mistake. Like, how much of my energy do I want to devote to some of this? It's not like they were making a fortune off it. It's a small regional magazine.
Right,
it's not like it's a national or worldwide publication. Yeah. So there's some stuff, and some places go all through. But we'll talk about that next time. We'll just kind of and it was like none of it. I'm not mad at anybody that I have had any issues with. I've talked with everybody about it.
And it goes back to one of them deals too. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And, in the photography world, I find out something new all the time. And this is such a huge genre. And either of us have just brushed the surface of what it is and what it can be. And that's what I always tell people too. When I got into photography, I didn't know what it could be.
Right.
And I'm starting to find that out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you either knew more. So you thought you knew more than you actually did. The whole, was it Dunning-Kruger? Is that what?
Dunning-Kruger effect, or whatever it is, yeah.
Where, the less you know, the more you think you know. Yeah.
And then in that kind of life, as we start getting older, and
I was like, I don't know shit.
Too soon we get old, too late we get wise.
Right. It's really funny because people are like, man, you could teach me so much, and I'm like, no, I'm still trying to figure this shit out. Right. I know, like Britton Hackey in Sioux City, and I laughed the last time I talked to him. He was like, I'm still trying to figure this out. 10,000, 12,000 followers on Facebook and Instagram, and just killing it in the concert stuff. And it's like, I'm just still trying to figure this out. And I just laugh. And I'm like, I think you got it handled. And when he did, because I had him do McKenna's senior pictures, and I laughed when I got there because he was like, what do you want me to do? I go, I want you to do Britton Hackey things. I go, that's all I want you to do. I said, I'm just here to have a good time as a parent. And, I think he was nervous, but like, that's the thing. Like, it's okay to not know, but you just need to realize what your limitations are. And I look back at my beginnings, and I was like, man, I thought I was really good, and holy shit.
But that's even at a certain point, you got to be able to point out to somebody, if somebody comes to me or you and they say, I want this. Well, that's not me. That's Tim. Right. Tim does that. And I've even had that, hey, can you do video? Can you do this? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I could probably do it,
right,
but I'm not going to fumble through it and put the stress on myself trying to pull that off.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I remember because I had an opportunity for you to go video.
Yeah.
And you were like,
turn down $2,000.
You were like, I can't do that. Like, I don't know enough about it. And like now I probably would have just been like, fuck yeah, I got this, you know, even if I didn't, because that was just, that was kind of my personality on a lot of things.
But that's just always been me. You know, even if you look at my artwork, the stuff I haven't put out, even the stuff that public don't even get to see,
Right.
most people would be very happy with that, and I'm not.
Oh, you got some really dope shit.
So it's getting there.
It's getting there. It's getting there. All right, everybody.
I'm very happy with where it's at.
Yeah,
right now,
I love
so.
some of the pictures. I really enjoyed them. So, but well,
Yeah, we're trying not to get blown away here.
we're trying not to get blown away. At least the hardest part stopped is done. Now I need to cruise back home and shot back some more water out of my carpet in the office.
What everything's looking like. So.
Yeah, it's been an interesting afternoon. But hey,
It
at least we got this recorded. Like Mother Nature was totally against us. And we're like, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, everything said no, but here we are.
Yeah. So tell us what you want us to talk about if somebody wants to jump on, and if you have any questions about a podcast for yourself, or a video podcast, or a vlog, or however you want to say it, let us know.
Or if some people would just want to get together and shoot or do something. Like I get together with people all the time, and I think a lot of people are, you know, we've even had people, not necessarily you and I, but me and some of my guys down in Des Moines, people that were afraid to come shoot with us because of the level that they thought they were at compared to the level that we thought we were at.
You can't get better if you don't
it's just
get
like
around people that are better.
you have the perfect opportunity. Like, you know, if you think you're here and we're here, why not tag along?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people that if they offer me that chance, boom, I am there.
How often are we with people? Like, and I was talking about this. I go to an event and I go set people's cameras.
Yeah.
I'm not scared to help.
I'll hand people a camera. Like if I know I can
did that at
trust
the
them,
track meet.
like,
I
here
handed
you
two
go.
different people.
That's
like
right.
I handed Danny one. I said, "Can you get this? Like, just get the box on their face. Let the camera will do the work. It's set enough for you." And then we had another one, and Carly's a junior, you know. And I said, "Can you come over here real quick?" Because I had two girls running the same event at the same time. Well, I can only focus on one. Right. And I said, just point it at them, put the box on their face, and push the shutter button. I'm like, you're not going to take too many pictures. I only need one.
Right.
You know, just one of them has to be in focus. And, you know, they both got it done. So, like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to share that information, because if I feel that I have to compete with this person, game on, let's go.
Well, here's the thing about the competition, and I want everybody to remember this. Sharing the knowledge is the easy part, because the people that you're worried about competing with you are more than likely not going to do the work.
Right. And it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's been a lot of work to get to the points that we have, and we share a lot of that information, talk back and forth, and you know, hey, I learned this from here, learned that from there. Or, you know, you're working on this, or I'm working on that, and you know, we push ourselves, but we push each other as well, and you can't replace them type of people to be around. Yeah. And so
it's a lot of work. Go do the work. Go do the work. Go do the work. Go do the work. All right, everybody. I am Tim.
I'm Jason.
Peace out.
See ya.
Hang loose. Later on.